Well, good morning and welcome back to the day after Storm Amy. Well, we had a bit of a wild weekend, a lot of very strong winds and heavy rain, but it's turned out to be a glorious morning, and I'm hoping that we're going to get some sun on the fence mounted solar panels over the next couple of hours. Today's video, I want to give you 3 short updates, and stick around to the end because I've got a question that I'd like to ask you and I'd love to get your feedback. Now, for those that have been following along with the channel for a while, you'll know that very recently we had our gas meter removed, so we've become an all-electric house. Now, one of the questions that came up was, because the process took so long, would Octopus charge me the standing charge for that whole time, that whole month that we were waiting for them to remove the gas meter? Well, this morning I got my bill and there is no mention of gas on it whatsoever. So not only did they refund the standing charge for the month that the process was in process, they actually refunded another 6 days back to the previous billing period. So we weren't charged for any of that whole month and a little bit more. So thank you, Octopus. I know it's not a huge amount of money in the grand scheme of things, but I really do appreciate the gesture. Now, onto the heat pump. As most of you know, we have a Daikin heat pump. It's been installed now for about 10 months, and just in the last couple of weeks, we've added another heat pump to the system. And this actually was Rosie the Cosy Heatpump that Octopus sent me without me even asking. It just arrived in the post. So thank you, whoever at Octopus decided to send those out. I appreciate it, but I think Yogi's going to appreciate it even more. But staying on the heat pump for a moment, one of the questions I get from a lot of people is, what does it require from a maintenance point of view? Well, to be totally honest, for the last 11 months, we haven't done anything to it. We have just let it run, do its thing. I haven't really changed any of the settings. It's just run. But we are coming up to our 1-year period where our first maintenance needs to be done under our Octopus maintenance contract. Now, that contract, we pay £9 a month for the service, and obviously that means that if something goes wrong, we can make a phone call, somebody will come out immediately or within 24 hours, but it also includes the yearly service of the heat pump. Now, for anyone who's had a Daikin heat pump for longer than a month, I'd love if you could let me know in the comments, what kind of things did they need to do during that service? Now, I've got a few things that I want them to look at, specifically the lagging that is around the external pipework, some of the tape that's coming away at the seams, that needs addressed before the winter. But let me know in the comments below if there were things that you had to get done during your first service, and maybe there are things that aren't Daikin specific that I should be looking at. Now, the third thing I wanted to talk about in this short update was the channel itself, because as some of you know, we've been taking all of the profits from this channel for the last 12 months, and we've actually been putting it into a high interest savings account. And what we plan to do with that money is to donate it to people who have large energy debts, for people who just can't get themselves out of money that they owe to the energy companies. Now, one of the things we could have done was just donate the money to a charity and let them deal with it. But I really don't want this money being used by a charity to pay wages and the administration of the charity. I want it to go to people that will actually have an impact. Now, we actually gave some of this money away last month. And for those of you that join my live streams, quick plug, there's one coming up on the 13th of October. In those streams, we talk about what we're actually do with the money, how much we've raised, where it's going. We were actually able to basically wipe out somebody's entire energy debt. But this caused a bit of a problem, because what we found out was that if you are on any form of benefits and somebody gives you money, then the government will take that money into account and reduce your benefits. And obviously that's something we don't want to do. We don't want to put people into an even harder position than they're in now. So I need some ideas. I need some thoughts on how we can do this without causing people further problems down the line. So if you do have some thoughts on how we can get this money to people that really need it, without causing them problems down the line, then either reach out to me directly through the address that's on the channel page, or hit me up in the comments below. I'd love to know what you think. The last thing I want to get your feedback on from this video is stats videos. Now, I would say every month, but they don't really work out every month. Most months I'll produce a video on how much energy does the heat pump use? And maybe a separate video on the fence mounted solar panels, and then sort of once a quarter, maybe what does the whole house generate? And just give you some idea of what I think is a pretty standard 3-bedroom house is capable of delivering. Let me know if you want me to continue to do those, because there are lots of people out there doing it, so there are lots of data points out there. But if they are of interest to you, would you prefer one massive stats video where I roll it all into one video and therefore you can trawl through all the numbers to your heart's content? Or would you prefer me to keep them separate? So if you're only interested in heat pumps, there's a separate heat pump video. If you're interested in fence mounted solar, there's a separate video for that. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. Well, that's it for this short update. Again, I'd love to know your thoughts. Please do hit me up in the comments, but I think it's time that we take this one for a walk before he mauls the Cosy Heat Pump even more.